It has been over 17 years since the disappearance of Madeleine McCann, and her whereabouts still remain a mystery. On May 3rd, her parents, Kate and Jerry McCann, marked the anniversary of her disappearance by acknowledging on their website that the pain of her absence still aches. The couple expresses disbelief at the passage of time and that it's hard to even say the number without shaking their heads in disbelief. Kate and Jerry went on to describe the ongoing struggle of living in limbo, despite being fortunate enough to enjoy a relatively normal everyday life. They expressed their gratitude from the continuing support of those who have not forgotten about Madeleine and all the missing children. The couple's message was one of hope and appreciation for the love and support they have received, which encourages them and bolsters their strength to keep going. They remain thankful for the love and hope for Madeleine, even after so many years, and are grateful to all those who continue to remember her. However, just a couple of weeks ago, the investigation found a prime suspect who allegedly kidnapped the 4-year-old and brutally murdered her. Before moving on, consider subscribing to the channel and hitting the notification bell. You'll never miss a video, and it really helps us out. On May 3, 2007, a heart-rending incident occurred in the Portuguese resort town of Praia da Luz. Madeleine, a bright-eyed and innocent 4-year-old girl, vanished into thin air while on a family vacation. The McCann family, including Madeleine's parents, Kate and Jerry, and her younger 2 siblings, Sean and Amelie, stayed at the luxurious Ocean Club Resort in the picturesque Algarve region. When tragedy struck, the family had been enjoying the sun, sea, and sand for a few days. One fateful evening, Kate and Jerry McCann put their little ones to bed before heading out to dine with friends at an on-site tapas restaurant just a stone's throw away. The group had devised a clever system to check on all the children every 30 minutes. However, when the McCanns returned to their apartment, they discovered the unthinkable. Madeleine had vanished without a trace. The mystery surrounding her disappearance has continued to baffle and haunt people worldwide ever since. At approximately 10 p.m., Kate McCann realized something was amiss during her routine check-in. She noticed that the shutters of her children's room were open and her daughter's bed was empty. The shock and fear that gripped her was palpable. Kate later expressed her disbelief as she regarded the resort as a safe and family-oriented place. The police were immediately alerted, and in the hours that followed, they were joined by the children's parents, their friends, and the resort staff in the search for the missing girl. Despite the strenuous efforts of hundreds of police officers and volunteers who combed the surrounding area in the following days and months, the search yielded no results. The sudden and unexplained disappearance of a young blonde girl with unique and striking eyes caused a massive stir in the United Kingdom and Portugal, with the incident becoming a focal point of media coverage throughout the world. In the initial stages of the investigation, the distraught McCann family reached out to the media for assistance in locating their missing daughter, and their plea quickly captured the attention of millions across the globe, including famous soccer players like David Beckham and Cristiano Ronaldo, who joined the chorus of appeals for information. In addition, the family even had the opportunity to speak with the Pope in their desperate search for answers. Although we know the investigation failed to identify the suspect, at that time, some of the leads gave hope to devastated parents. In May of 2007, local police investigating the disappearance of 3-year-old Madeleine McCann named the first suspect, or arguido. This person was a British-born man named Robert Murat, whose home was searched and whose pool was drained as part of the investigation. 2 of Murat's associates were also questioned, and one of them later became the victim of an arson attack. The assailant torched his car and spray-painted the Portuguese word for speak in red on the pavement. However, Murat was ultimately cleared of any involvement in the case by July 21, 2008. In response to the tragedy, Madeleine's parents set up a private fundraising initiative called Madeleine's Fund, leaving no stone unturned Ltd. On May 15th. The fund attracted donors from a wide range of sources, including the tabloid newspaper News of the World, and celebrities such as J.K. Rowling and Colleen Rooney, wife of football player Wayne Rooney. But as rumors of unsuccessful investigations spread, some tabloids accused parents of having something to do with Maddie's disappearance. One of the most controversial explanations that have been surrounding the disappearance of Madeleine McCann is that her parents, Kate and Jerry McCann, accidentally sedated her, causing her death. According to this theory, they, along with the help of few holidaymakers referred to as the Tapa 7, hid her body and claimed that an abduction had taken place. Despite the full scrutiny of the media on the case, the McCanns supposedly returned to dispose of Madeleine's body without anyone noticing. Proponents of this theory have pointed out inconsistencies in the statements given by the McCanns regarding the events of that evening. Moreover, forensic sniffer dogs indicated that a corpse had been inside a car rented by the McCanns several weeks after Madeleine disappeared. However, the reliability of sniffer dogs has been questioned, and other DNA traces found in the car and apartment were entirely inconclusive. Despite the many arguments raised against this theory, it remains a persistent and controversial possibility in the ongoing search for the truth behind Madeleine's disappearance. In March of 2008, Kate and Jerry McCann received a settlement of £550,000 or $690,000 and a front-page apology from the British tabloid The Daily Express. The apology was issued in response to false allegations made by the newspaper that the couple was involved in the suspected death of their daughter. The McCanns had vehemently denied any involvement in their daughter's disappearance and had even launched a high-profile campaign to find her. The settlement and apology were a significant victory for the McCanns, who had been subject to intense media scrutiny and criticism following their daughter's disappearance. In 2014, British detectives flew to Portugal to investigate the disappearance of Madeleine McCann. The detectives were believed to be planning to make arrests, and the development raised hopes that the mystery surrounding Madeleine's disappearance could finally be solved. However, the investigation took a turn when Scotland Yard's involvement was scaled back significantly in the following years. The number of officers working on the case were reduced from 29 to just 4, raising concerns among Madeleine's family and supporters that the investigation was losing momentum. In the following years, the investigation made plodding progress. For parents who had been waiting for any news regarding their child's whereabouts, the silence was unbearable. However, in 2020, the Federal Criminal Police Office, BKA, officially announced that a known sex offender who is currently serving a separate jail term in Germany is now suspected of committing a murder. Although the name of the 43-year-old at the time suspect had not been revealed, the BKA had disclosed that he was residing in a mobile home in the Algarve during Maddie's disappearance. Local newspapers in the Braunschweig area, where the unnamed prisoner is based, have reported that the police's descriptions appeared to match that of a man who was convicted of raping and robbing a 72-year-old American woman in Portugal in 2005. His DNA was linked to that case in 2018. Eyewitness reports suggest that the suspect, who was seen carrying a young girl around the time of Maddie's disappearance, may have been in his 30s then, which roughly matches the age of the suspect. While the German police have launched a potential murder investigation, British investigators are still treating the case as a missing persons investigation, as they have yet to find definitive evidence of the girl's whereabouts. In the ongoing rape trial of Christian Bruckner, a major witness has come forward with crucial evidence related to the disappearance of Madeleine McCann. The witness, Helga Bushing, was dealt with by a British police officer named DC Mark Draycott during the search for Madeleine. Bruckner, who's currently on trial in the city of Braunschweig, has been charged with unrelated sex crimes allegedly committed in the same area of Portugal where Madeleine went missing 17 years ago on May 3, 2007. The recent relations by the witness could potentially provide a significant breakthrough in the case. Detective Constable Draycott, who was involved in the investigation of the disappearance of Madeleine McCann, appeared in court as a witness. He told the court about his encounter with Helga Lars Bushing, whom he first spoke to after the latter left a message with information on the incident hotline. DC Draycott explained that one of his duties was to check the hotline daily, where he came across the message on May 18th. A male had left a message asking to speak to Dave Edgar and had left a Greek mobile number. DC Draycott called the number and talked to a man who introduced himself as Lars, now known as Helga Lars Bushing. During the conversation, Bushing provided information related to the McCann case. Draycott explained that the information provided by Bushing led to the further inquiries and searches, which became a line of investigation. The police worked with the BKA in Germany and the Portuguese police to investigate the information provided by Bushing. The line of inquiry led the investigation team to Athens in Greece, where they met with Bushing and spoke to him over 2 days. He further testified that Bushing was initially not willing to give a statement to the police. However, as the line of inquiry progressed, he agreed to provide a statement to the British police. Bushing traveled to London on February 8, 2018 to give a statement to the investigators. The statement was prepared to a certain degree based on the statement he had already given. Bushing had the opportunity to review the statement, and after doing so, he signed a declaration. When asked by the judge if the Metropolitan Police had made any promises in relation to Bushing's help with their investigation, D.C. Draycott replied that they do not make promises to witnesses. The investigation into the disappearance of Madeleine McCann had taken a new turn after the family of Christian Bruckner's ex-girlfriend informed the German police that the remains of the British child may be buried in the old garden of their rented house in the Algarve. The German prosecutor in charge of the case had informed their Portuguese counterparts about this information. Dieter F., a hospital van driver, has given evidence twice to the German authorities regarding the case of the missing girl. He firmly believes that his daughter, who was once in a relationship with Bruckner, is involved in this case. According to him, "I told the German BKA police twice that they should dig up the garden and the house. Unfortunately, I believe that she is responsible and that making easy money is everything to her." In May 2023, the Portuguese authorities confirmed that the search for Madeleine McCann, a British girl who disappeared at the age of 3 from her family vacation apartment in the Algarve region in 2007, has come to an end. The search of the Arad Dam reservoir and its surrounding areas in southern Portugal has yielded some material, which experts will analyze. However, there is no indication that anything conclusive has been found. The search was initiated at the request of the German authorities, and divers and police officers with sniffer dogs have been combing the reservoir and its surroundings, which is approximately 31 miles away from Praia da Luz. Now, the main question is who Christian Bruckner is. Bruckner, a native of Germany, was born in 1976 and relocated to Portugal during his late teenage years. It is believed that between 1995 and 2007, he resided in the country, staying in a camper van not far from the holiday resort where Madeleine went missing. Descriptions depict him as approximately 6 feet tall, with a slender build and short blonde hair. At 48 years old, he currently faces trial on charges unrelated to Madeleine's case, specifically a series of alleged sexual offenses occurring in Portugal between 2000 and 2017. These accusations include the rape of an Irish tour representative, a teenage girl, and an elderly woman in her holiday accommodation. Additionally, he is accused of indecent exposure incidents involving a German girl on a beach and a group of children in a playground. Bruckner had a history of more than a dozen prior convictions, encompassing offenses such as burglary, theft, and sexual misconduct. Among these, he served an 18-month sentence in Germany for a sexual assault during his adolescence. Presently, he is serving a prison term in Germany for the rape of a U.S. pensioner in the Algarve and involvement in drug trafficking. German authorities have discovered disturbing correspondence on Bruckner's computer, where he engages in explicit dialogue with another individual regarding his desire to abduct and harm a young girl. The lead prosecutors overseeing the investigation, which has spanned 16 years, suggests that this conversation, particularly the use of the letters MM, could be a significant clue. While the conversation is too disturbing to disclose fully, Bruckner discusses his intentions to document the kidnapping and murder of a child. One of Bruckner's messages states, "Oh, if the evidence is destroyed," to which the other individual responds with MM. Hans Christian Walters, a prosecutor in Braunschweig, stated in an interview with BBC's Panorama, "Yeah, maybe it could be a hint. It could be. Of course, it's important for us." When questioned if the correspondence could contribute to the evidence leading to Bruckner's conviction, Mr. Walters commented, "Yes, this could be something like that. This could be a piece for the big puzzle." Mr. Walters expressed confidence in asserting that the child is deceased, positing that she was killed in Portugal and that Bruckner is the sole suspect in their investigation. "We think that he was involved in the disappearance of Madeleine McCann," he stated, "and we think he murdered her. That's our stand." Now, after 17 years, the whole world is waiting for whether the German prosecutor's office will charge Christian Bruckner with kidnapping and murdering Maddie McCann. Thanks for watching. Hit the like button if you enjoyed the video, and feel free to share your opinion on the case in the comments below.